Welcome to Beauty After Dark, where we discuss beauty in life's toughest times. I'm your host, Crystal West, and today we have a very special guest, Alicia Nelson. And today we are going to talk about beauty after a custody battle. So before we begin, I kind of want to ask you, I'm gonna actually let you pick a card. This is one of our previous guests has a game, and it'll let you just gonna let the audience get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
It's not too deep, the questions aren't, so don't think too deep about it, just whatever come to your head. So go ahead.
Okay.
What did it say?
What is your favorite thing to do for someone you love and care about?
Oh my God, the last guest picked that card too. Go ahead.
Buy gifts. I like to buy gifts for people.
Do you? Yeah. Okay.
I'm a gift giver.
Okay, so that's your love language then.
That's one of them.
Okay, it is. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. What do I like to do? It don't even matter what I like to do. This ain't about me. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Alrighty, so where would you like to begin?
So first off, I went through a custody battle for like 2 years. That's a long,
That's a very long time.
The judge was upset at the end because it lasted for so long. So before the custody battle, my kids were with their dad for the holiday, the 4th of July. And they came home the following day.
Okay.
And my baby girl, she was 2 at the time.
Okay.
And she was telling me, telling me like her private hurt and everything. And I'm like,
okay.
What?
Yeah.
And so of course I observed her, and she was so red and swollen. I'm like, who touched you?
Yeah, immediately.
And she was happy. She was like, my daddy. And I said, what? So instantly, like, I went and got my other daughter, and I'm like, did your daddy touch you? Like, have your daddy touch you? And I mean, she broke down. She was terrified. She was terrified. Oh,
I could only imagine.
It
How old
like
was she? The other daughter?
She was 6. And I'm like, tell me what happened. Like, what did he do? And she didn't want to tell me because she looked at him like her superhero. And it's like, at that point, I thought she loved him more than she loved me.
Right, yeah.
And so she was like, I guess, in shock. And she eventually told me, I'm like, look, tell me what happened now, because I need to. She was scared that he was going to go to jail. And that's the thing.
Crazy how you protect the person that like hurt you, like, oh.
But eventually, later on, we found out that when she was in therapy, we found out that he told her, you can't tell your mommy because you don't want your daddy to go to jail, do you? Oh. And so that's why she didn't. That's why she was so terrified.
Yeah.
And but eventually she ended up telling what happened, and she gave details. And I mean, the bruises that was on her body, everything lined up with what she said.
Wait, she had bruises from the stuff he was doing? So was he like?
He was raping her. He was holding her arms back with one hand. Yeah. Yes, everything.
The 6-year-old and the 2-year-old?
He didn't penetrate the 2-year-old.
But he
penetrated, and once we got to Cardinal Glennon, I got all those records.
Yeah.
The lady who did the rape
test,
she was telling me that there was no tears, there was no rips, and she told me that she had been doing that for like 30-something years. She was an older woman. And she was like, in my experience, this had to be going on for at least 3 years. Whew.
Oh.
So it was a lot for me to take in. It was a lot. It was a lot.
I thought she was about to say she was going to be like, girl, ain't nothing wrong. But she's like, no, this been going on.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Okay.
And so, and at that point, I'm just like, I'm just out of my mind. And so, children's division came to the hospital, and I mean, they questioning me like I'm the villain here.
Right.
And so, like, they ended up coming to my house questioning me. We ended up going to like the Children's Advocacy Center. We had to do.
They didn't go question him.
He showed, because I called him on the way to the hospital, and I cursed him out. I
Yeah.
said, "You going to jail? I
Yeah,
cursed him out.
absolutely.
I said, I'm calling the police." So he shows up with his girlfriend, and because it happened at the girlfriend's house. The girlfriend was upstairs giving her baby a bath, which was the same age as my younger baby. And they were downstairs in the basement, and that's where he took advantage of my baby. And so I was ready to fight them.
Absolutely.
Like, the nerve of y'all for showing up here. But by that time, my sisters was there, my crew here. So what you want to do?
Absolutely.
And so he showed up so oblivious. Like, what is going on? Like, I don't know what's going. And I'm like, you narcissist.
Yeah.
Complete narcissist. So what happened after that? They ended up questioning him, the police. Mm-hmm. And they took him in the back. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see him after that.
Okay.
My sister saw him, but I didn't. Mm-hmm. My mind was focused on, I don't know where my mind was at.
Right. And it probably was, girl, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so we ended up going through the Children's Advocacy Center. And we had to talk to all these different people. Yeah. And I had to tell the story over, I want to say, probably 10 to 15 times. And I'm like, I've already given you my story. And then so they had my daughter to tell the story. So with her being so young, they wanted to do an interview. And she was in a room where it was the the two-way mirror.
Yes, yeah.
And so she wouldn't be able to see everybody who was on the other side, which was Children's Division. I believe the prosecuting attorney, the detective was in there. And I can't remember who all was in there. And so when they interviewed her, they were asking her things like, what is this? Your chest.
Yeah.
And she was like, cheese. And they was like, okay, well, what is this? And she said something off the wall, maybe my leg or something just so off the wall. And I'm like, y'all can't see that this child is traumatized.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And so they came back, and we ended up going to court. And so he had a little money. Then he was working a decent job. For me, my financial situation at that time, it was crazy. So before this happened, I was working 2 jobs. And my full-time job, they ended up letting me go because they didn't need me.
Okay.
And so I was working at the bar. That was my part-time job, trying to make ends meet, which I wasn't making ends meet. I was struggling. And so I ended up getting an eviction notice. And this was all before this happened. And
girl, oh my God.
I ended up getting an eviction notice. What else happened? I was getting all these disconnection notices.
You was going through it.
Listen, and then so after all of that, I ended up going to court for the eviction before this happened. And I told them listen, I'll be out the house, the beginning of August, blah, 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 blah. So they were able to give me that. But when I found out he was molesting them, it happened after I went to court for the eviction. So I'm like, okay, they gonna take my kids from me.
Right,
because now I don't have a place to, I'm getting put out. And he got money. He ran and got him an attorney. Yes. And I had to get a public defender because I don't have no money.
Yeah.
And so the kids were appointed the GAL. Is it the GAL? The guardian ad litem.
Okay.
It's where they are not for the mom or dad. I think that happened. That was the custody thing.
Okay.
Where they are only for the child. They are not on either of the parent side. But I will never forget the prosecuting attorney. Can I mention her name? Kimberly D. Whittle, St. Louis County. I will never forget. This woman looked me in my face and said, there's chances that your daughter was coerced into saying that he did that. And she said, I just can't find it in my heart to convict an innocent man. So I'm like, so girl. She said, I can't find it in my heart to convict the innocent man and tarnish his name for the rest of his life. And I'm like, but you have evidence.
Right.
Like, we have
where's
the
the
rape
coercion
kit.
coming from? Right.
We have my daughter's story. We got the rape kit. Like, we got the hospital records. Like, we have everything.
Yeah.
And so she was like, well, he said that you have a boyfriend, so it could have been your boyfriend who did it.
True.
And I'm like, okay, he done hired him an attorney. He got his side of the story. They see that I'm just some black girl who don't have no money. I'm struggling to take care of my kids. Like, they looking at my situation.
That they looking at you and judging you off of that.
Yes. And so I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. You know, I went through hell.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. You know, I prayed about it. Yeah. You know, I went through like this depression mode. It was to the point where I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't showering. I wasn't eating.
Did you still have the kids too?
I still had my kids.
Oh my God.
I was still in the house that I was getting evicted from.
Yeah.
And because I'm like, how could they not charge him? Like, I don't get it. So I went into like a deep, dark depression mode. Yeah. And it was to the point to where my oldest daughter, she was, I think, 11 or 12 at the time. And she would come in my room like, Mama, are you okay?
They probably, I mean, for your child to see you going through and they recognize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she like, Mama, do you want something to eat? Like, that did something to me.
Yeah. Go grab some tissue.
And please. I was like, girl, you got to snap out of this. You got to snap out of it because your kids are watching you. And so that kind of triggered something in me. Like, okay, I got to fight this. I got to fight this depression. It was to the point to where I'm already slim. I was like 95 pounds. Yes.
Oh.
That's how deep in a hole I sunk into depression. Yes.
And then having to still go out and deal with the outside world.
Yes.
I got it.
Yes.
Come over.
Yes.
I got it. Cut it. Come over.
And so, and then like I had ran into, like my daughter's dad, my oldest daughter's dad, he was like, you know, he came over to the house, I don't know, to get her or bring her home or something. He was like, are you okay? He was like, I'm worried about you. And you know, me and him always had a relationship.
So the 6-year-old is not the...
No, the 6-year-old, the two youngest have the same dad.
Okay, but this is the
oldest
daughter.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so he was like, I'm worried about you. And me and him always had this up and down rocky relationship. It was never like solid. And for him to like show concern like that meant a lot to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I had ran into a friend who I hadn't seen in maybe like about 2 or 3 years. And they were like, are you okay? Like, you're not sick or anything, or you? I mean, it looked like I was terminal. It looked like I had cancer.
Because I probably would have asked that too. I mean, you have a slim figure, but to be 90 pounds and then at a taller height, not like, you know, like under 5 feet. So it's like,
yeah. And I mean, like my hips was hurting. I thought I was dying.
Oh.
That's how small I was. Like my knees was poking out of my skin. Like I was in a dark depression. And I ended up snapping out of it. And
thank you.
I called my dad. I'm like, listen, you know, it's the perfect time for us to leave. He lives in Memphis.
Okay.
So I'm like, because he knew everything that was going on with the kids. You know, I called him and updated him about, you know, what happened in court, you know, all of that. And he was like, well, you know, y'all always welcome here. So once the date that I was supposed to be out the house, I didn't have no money. And I never told anybody this. I ended up giving away everything I owned to people because I lived in like low income apartments. And I ended up blessing like 8 families. I gave them everything in my house. That's amazing. I gave them beds, my living room set. I gave them absolutely everything I owned. We only took with us the clothes that could fit in my car. I gave away big totes of shoes, coats, curtains, decorations,
Everything.
whatever you can think of, bathroom decor. I just gave it away. You ain't got to pay me nothing here. Just take it. And so I was getting the welfare check. And so I think my check came on like the 2nd. And I was supposed to have been out the house like on the 31st. So that was the last day I stayed there. And so, or actually I had to be out on the 31st. So that night on the 31st, I slept in my car.
With the kids?
With my kids. And during the daytime, we ended up going, like hanging out with people that we knew. I would take them like to the park, Forest Park, just wherever was free.
Yeah.
And I had food stamps. So we would go to like them stores, you know, that sell like food and stuff.
Yep.
And the next night I did the same thing. My oldest daughter, I let her spend those days with her family.
Yeah.
Before we moved out of town.
Yeah.
And so we slept in the car again outside of the complex where I was living because I felt safe there.
Right.
I had been there.
Because it was home. Yeah.
And so we slept outside for 2 nights in my car, loaded up with clothes, with everything.
Girl.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yep. And
I mean, just being friends, you know, on Facebook or just seeing you, never in a million years. You are amazing to even go through that and be standing here, to stand here still with the same mind and be able to tell this story. Alicia, girl, for real. You know, you think you be going through stuff. Everybody got a story.
I'm telling
you. This. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I am telling you, your courage, your bravery, all of that, just in one is a total blessing. I'm happy that you heard to tell the story to me and to the audience. I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I swear I never would have known.
Yeah, and I just knew. I never really talked, like only like my family, like my immediate circle, know my story.
So where were they at doing? Was it pride or anything? Why didn't you? What made you just stay in the car the 2 nights rather than?
I just didn't want to
involve anybody.
Yeah, and you know, I was just going through so much. I just wanted to be by myself.
Yeah,
you know, because everybody was in my ear about, you should have did this or this should have happened. And so another thing is guilt. I was guilty because it happened to me as a child for years. And and that's another thing. Like I got taken from my mom, and that's a whole nother story. I lived in foster care.
Girl, oh my God. Life. Lord, we're going to have to have you twice on the show just to...
Oh, to
see where you are now, to have went through all of that.
Yes.
I can only, I mean, you hear about the stuff in foster care. I can only imagine what you have to say.
It was tragic. It was tragic. But, so I didn't tell anybody because I just needed my space.
Yeah.
And I was also guilty because I'm like, wow, like, how did I miss the signs? Like the signs were there. And so in my mind, I'm just replaying. I mean, I wasn't sleeping at night. Like I was just up and my mind just wired, just going.
Yeah.
My mind was just, and I'm just like, oh Lord, I don't know. Like, I just don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so once that check came, on the 2nd, I picked my daughter up.
Yeah, we out here.
I went to go say bye to my sisters, and we hit the road. And we went to Memphis with my dad, and his house wasn't the best. My dad lived in a rooming house. Yes, but he had the master suite.
Okay, so it's bigger than...
He had a laundry room in his... It was like a studio apartment.
Yes,
he had a full bathroom inside of his room. And the kitchen, it was a nice-ass kitchen, was right outside of his door. So, I mean, it was okay. And I was so protective over my kids.
At that time, absolutely, yeah.
And it was, I think, 2 other couples staying there, like older couples. Somebody that I would look at as like aunt and uncles. And so... I was very, very overprotective at that time, but I was starting to come back to myself. I ended up getting the kids in therapy down there.
Okay.
I ended up getting a job the first week I was there.
Oh,
so
see?
things was looking up.
Yes.
I ended up, what else did I do? I mean, things were just looking up.
Yeah.
But I had to pay for the kids to go to daycare, and I was spending like something. It was like between $800 and like $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, what I'm making, because this was 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, well, what I'm making the money just to pay for the kids to go to daycare.
Right.
So I did that for like a month and I quit.
Yeah.
I said, what am I, like, I can be raising my own kids. I can be healing from my trauma, everything that we went through. And so I did that, you know, and my dad was okay, you know. Every time I look up, he handed me like $100, $200 here. Take the kids to do this, here, go do this, here, you know. And so, the people that were staying at the house, they ended up getting put out or something. So the house was completely empty, but it was just us there, like with my dad.
Okay.
And the owner ended up dying, but his wife, they lived right across the street.
Okay.
So it worked out just fine. And she ended up dying like shortly after. So my dad was like, I don't know what's going to happen with the house. The house going with you know, it's going to automatically get passed down to their kids. So I don't know if they want to sell it or what. But it ended up working out in their favor because they had a granddaughter my age. And me and her clicked.
Oh,
you know, I told her my situation. She had just came to town from Joplin. Like, we had both just moved there like that same week. So
wow.
So it worked out, and everything worked out in our favor. They ended up selling the house to my dad.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they ended up selling the house to him. But when I moved there, he be working, don't he?
Listen.
But when I moved there, they had roaches, they had mice, and I'm like, oh my God, this is. I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
But I toughed it out. I got like mouse traps. I ended up getting like all this stuff for like the roaches and But it was like infested, I guess. It was to the point like when I went there, you would see like a roach crawling on the wall. But by the time I left, you didn't like. It was hard to like spot a roach, and so I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable, like, but I was still struggling financially down there. And so one of my good friends here is married to somebody that he's close with, their dad, my kid's dad. And so she called me one day. And, you know, she kind of been like giving me the scoop on everything that's been happening.
Yeah.
And she was like, girl, you checked your child support card? I'm like, no. I said, ain't nothing on that card.
Right.
She said, check it. She was like, I overheard them talking. And he was saying that they took almost his whole check. Yep.
I would have been like, hold on, let me call you right back.
So they
immediately checking that card.
So I was getting like 8. I can't remember. I was getting like 8 something every month. And I'm like, but it still wasn't enough. I'm like, this still ain't enough because even if I was to get a job, this would pay for daycare, and then I still have to pay rent, bills. I still got to buy like
still
necessities.
I mean, Jesus.
And so
during all of this,
so I was still I was okay because I wasn't paying bills or anything, but I'm like, this just not enough. It's just not enough. So I ended up calling my sister, and I was like, oh wait, I skipped the part. My church ended up going on like a 30-day fast. Okay. And I was in Memphis, but I fasted with them. Yeah. And either they would call me or I would call them, and they'd have me on speakerphone during like worship service and all of that. Yeah. And so they fasted for 30 days. I fasted for 4 months. 4 months. Wow. Yes. 4 months.
Listen, baby, I mean, that's determination. Because, baby, God, I need to hear from you.
That I needed to hear a word from God, and I'm like, okay,
and
Lord.
I
said this was a strategic move for me to move here in Memphis, and like everybody was upset, like, why you moving? Like, you done went through this traumatic experience. You need to be with your family. You need to be here. And I'm like, no, because everybody's in my ear.
Yes,
I can't. think straight. Like, I love you all. I know that you all mean well, but I need to hear a word from God.
That's right. Yeah.
I need to hear from God. And God spoke to me so clearly when I was there. Like,
what was it?
I mean, just
just
everything about my life.
Yeah.
And the things that I went through after I completed that 30-day fast, God would like intentionally place people in my path who were so much worse off than I was. And so it taught me to be grateful. It taught me to, you know, just appreciate my life, because yes, this happened, but there's also hope for healing in my kids' life. So my situation could be worse. Like, I'm running into people who's homeless. Like, I'm running into these women out here with their children, 2 little shoes on. Like, my kids have everything that they need. No matter what. Like, I still have a roof over my head. Like, my entire perspective changed when I went on that fast. And my situation became so minute. And everybody was like, wow, like, how are you getting through that? You know, your kids
like, I'm literally sitting her and I'm like, girl, go ahead.
My situation became so little because I made God so big. And I know it sounds good, but you don't really know it until you really do it. And I had to make God my Lord. And like, I had to make God. I went from, so every night when my kids went to bed, while I was fasting for 4 months, starting at 12 o'clock, because I heard from an older wise person that it was just something about the midnight hour. And so I would go in the bathroom, close the door, play my worship music, and I got on my knees and I would pray to God from anywhere from like 5-10 minutes. The longest that by the time I was done with that 4-month fast, I prayed from 12 at night to 6 in the morning when it was time for me to get my daughter up for school. And I still felt energized and refreshed. And I was like, it is so much power. It's
in
so
worship
much
and praise
power.
And talking to him and being in your you remind. I do that now, not from 12 to 6, but I don't care. My space with God is in my bathroom. That's why I'm sitting here like,
me too. It's been my bathroom.
I get on my knees, and pray. I probably wake the kid. I don't care. I am in there loud. And then when I'm done, by the time I'm done, I done lost track of time. And it doesn't matter though.
It don't matter.
It does not matter. And I say I'm still energized. Like when you say, that's why I'm sitting here like, I want to get up and I want to run, because what you did is what I went through something last year and it was a lot for me, and that's where I found my peace. I literally had to do it. I had to do what you said, make him my Lord, and like, for not just say it. He was all that I had, and he made sure. Like, I'm gonna give you some things, but I'm gonna need you to realize where your help comes from and who I am to you. That's why I'm like, I'm sorry, audience, because I want to run, but like this is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I would pray every night, starting at midnight, and I wouldn't go to sleep. If I do, I'm gonna take a nap at about 9, but I'm gonna make sure I set that alarm for at least 11:55. Because I'm gonna make sure that I'm up. And we had mice running around the house. Like, before my situation, I would have been terrified. To like, what? It's mice. No, I didn't care. Because God, I need some healing. Lord, my daughter was waking up in the middle of the night 3 to 4 times a week. And if my dad wasn't there to witness it, and when we moved back home, if my sister wasn't there to witness it, nobody would believe me. My daughter would wake up. I forgot the name of it, but I wrote it down in one of my journals. It's a condition where she would wake up and see bugs crawling everywhere. She would see spiders and she would start screaming and crying, going crazy. And of course, my baby girl witnessed it. And of course, my oldest daughter witnessed it. And it would happen 3 to 4 times every week. And I'm like, Lord, like, we got to get some Lord, I need you to heal my baby. And so, yes, me getting down on my knees, that was important to me for my daughter to get the healing that she needed. And it got to the point to where like I would take my kids to like McDonald's or somewhere, and I remember this one instance when we were in Memphis and we saw a homeless girl, and I had ordered my kids some food, and I ended up going in the bathroom. I think maybe my baby girl had to use the bathroom or something, and this homeless girl, she was young. She looked like she was probably like about 18, 19. She was washing up in a sink. My God, that did something to me. I got down on that nasty floor in the bathroom on my knees, and I prayed. You talking about prayer. And I was like, you know what, Lord? My relationship with you is more important than the dirt that's on this floor, because I got hot water and soap at home.
Come on now.
I got dishwasher. I mean, I got laundry detergent and a washing machine at home.
Yeah.
Lord, I'm trying to go somewhere and I need you to get me somewhere.
Yeah.
Lord, I thank you for the perspective that you are planting in me. Lord, I thank you for everything that you are giving me.
Yes.
And so I think I ended up talking to the girl. And she told me like she comes to restaurants every few days. You know, of course she begged for her change and you know, food
to get back.
And she washes up in public restrooms. And it broke my heart. I gave her $100 and I bought her some food. And I'm struggling myself. Myself. But I was like, Lord,
you just a giver.
You
are a giver, even in your time. Like throughout everything you said, you have been giving, and you were the one like you really need stuff, but you still you didn't let that like tear your heart, like your gift away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And but my thing is, I got everything I need. The Lord promised me that He was gonna supply all my needs, and He has not failed me yet.
Listen.
He has not failed me yet, and I'm seeing people whose needs are not met. And if you blessed me to be a blessing, because that's my daily prayer, Lord, bless me to be a blessing. And we all pray that prayer, but we don't really mean it sincerely. I mean it. Lord, bless me to be a blessing for somebody else.
Yeah.
If I can help her get a motel room for 2 days, Lord, bless me to help this girl have a place to lay her head and food to eat for the next couple of days.
Yes. So and you probably was giving that girl hope.
Yes. I gave her a hug and I prayed with her. I held her hands and I prayed with her. Oh. Yes. Yeah. And that's when my prayer life became like infinite. My prayer life, it happened when my kids got molested. But like I said, everything happened. I lost my job. I got evicted. Oh, I didn't tell you the part when my lights got cut off. So the lights was off for a couple of days too before we got evicted. So it was in July. So the middle of the summer. But my house where my apartment was, it was like these real big trees. So it was nothing but shade. And every time the wind blow, I just opened the windows and we got breezes, and it just reminded me of like back in the day when we was kids. I'm like, it is what it is. I done been through this before. Yes. And it teaches you not to focus on your problems and your issues. And it just kind of bring in perspective like, wow, you know what? I really am blessed when I think about it. Like my good outweighs my bad. My good has always outweighed my bad. I was going to say on any day. Yeah. No matter what. So I have no reason to complain. I have no reason to just be bitter, broken, like none of that.
You have pure joy. Like when they talk about joy, no, this is the joy. Like I'm delighting in the Lord. I have my joy. And you can't take it from me because you didn't give it to me.
Thank you. Yes. And that's something that I had to pray for. Like really. I had to strategically pray, like, Lord, heal my mind. Like, I'm going crazy. At one point, I was going crazy. Like, I thought I was going to be in a mental hospital. And I'm 39 now. But now I understand. Like, when I was younger, I used to hear people get up in church and testify and say, like, you know, Lord, I thank you for me being in my right state of mind and having a sound mind. And I used to be like, whatever that means. Like, what does that even mean? Like, y'all just saying stuff. But now I really understand like, what it means. Like, I almost lost my mind. Yes. Lord, I thank you that I have a sound mind. Yes. Like, I really do. Yeah. And like I said, like people are out here battling depression. And we are in a spiritual war. And I preach about this, and people don't understand like how the enemy is jumping from me to you
from
to this. And listen,
I recently told a friend, I was like, you're not fighting that person. It's a spirit on that person that you're fighting. Like it ain't flesh and blood. Like when the Bible say that, like it's serious.
Yes,
and that person, you can sit there. There's no point in arguing with them. They don't even understand what's going on. Like you literally you have to pray.
Yes.
And let the Lord, like you literally have to know that the Lord gonna take care of whatever is going on.
I'm telling you.
But that's something. I'm not even wasting my energy. I'm going to protect my peace.
Yes.
The Bible says seek peace and pursue it.
Yes.
And I literally do that every day. And then when I see things that arise, because he doesn't exempt us from anything.
No.
Even still now, knowing him, it's still like you still go through stuff. But when I was talking to her, because I was affected by the situation we were talking, that me and her both were going through. And I was like, that type of person, that's the wicked that the Bible talks about. Like, and those type of people, you got to let God deal with them.
Yeah,
you don't even have the mental capacity to deal with anything like that. And it's a spirit. That spiritual warfare is serious.
Yeah, it's a spirit. And the thing is, it'll get on us. And we'll be ready to click on somebody and don't know what happened. It happened to me recently. And I'm like, Lord, I done had to apologize to 5 people in one day. I'm like, okay, Lord, listen, I don't know what's going on, but forgive me because I didn't pray when I woke up this morning.
Listen, I swear, I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I have apologized, had to go back and apologize for certain situations so much to the point where now I'm quick to let me let this go down. Because for one, I'll apologize if it's gonna give you glory, God. I'm definitely not gonna be like, I ain't apologize. I'm gonna definitely do it. But Crystal, how about let's stop getting to this point. Baby, I don't want to be no more lessons. I need to just okay. I don't want no more hard lessons, God. Just let me just yield to the Holy Spirit. Because after a while I'll be like, I know you went off and you gotta go apologize. I was like, I don't want to do that no more.
Listen, that Holy Spirit gonna convict you. Okay? And until you apologize, yes. And I'm like, okay, let me humble myself. Let me humble myself.
Yes. Okay, so during all of this, what you had going on, I know we have these books and everything, which I'm assuming, I know all of this helps you, but like outside of the Bible and praying and stuff, because I kind of tell people like, I'm praying and I'm doing this, but I also have to do other things. It ain't just the Bible. Like the Bible is definitely my foundation, but like when I was dealing with an emotional roller coaster over the last year, I had to go start buying books about emotions because God was like, you're not tapping into that. I'm asking him to release me and do all of this and do this, God, and do that. And he like, baby, I got you. I'm going to do that. But you got to tackle this first, because even if I give you that, you're going to mess all of it up. So let's talk about it.
So I do have these, but I ordered a lot of books on Amazon Prime. And I ordered a lot of books because like once the situation happened and it was during the custody battle. And the lady, Elizabeth Trotter, she's the one, we haven't even got to the custody part yet.
We can talk about it. We didn't even go there. I started thinking about, because I mean, you just empowering and I'm like, baby, let's talk about this. No. Hold off on this. Let's talk about the custody battle, because we didn't even get to that portion.
Well, okay, so he didn't get charged because the prosecuting attorney said what she said. She didn't want to convict
still to this day
person. Still to this day, but we were struggling so bad in Memphis, even with the child support. So I ended up moving back home, and I moved with my sister. She came down to Memphis. She had like an Infinity truck with 3 rows, so it was enough for us. And she didn't want us to bring our clothes. She like, look, you gonna have to shake that stuff out. I'm like, girl, okay, but but I watched everything when I got there. But so we ended up moving.
Okay.
And we slept in the basement. So my struggle was still, when I was with my dad, we still slept in one bed, me and all 3 of my kids. In one bed. And so when we moved with my sister, we slept in the basement, half finished. And we slept in one bed. downstairs in the basement. And I did that for, I think, like 6 months. And I was getting my child support.
And she was still waking up at the time too.
My baby was still hallucinating.
Oh, she
was still having hallucinations.
Yeah.
Yes, she would scream, go crazy.
Was that PTSD from having the roaches and all that, or was it
no?
From
it was from the molestation.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
It was from the molestations, and so and like I would go out, like, you know, with friends, and like my sister would keep my kids. And so that's how she was able to witness it.
Yeah.
Because she kept them for me. Like I didn't let my kids go with nobody except my sister. That's it. They can't go with nobody else.
Right.
And so so we did that. You know, I was still getting my child support, and I ended up getting a job at a daycare center in Florissant. And I'm like, okay, so I got this, and I have the child support. Yeah. And then I ended up reaching out to the owner of the bar that I worked for before we moved.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, when we have events, I'll call you. You know, and I worked some events. You know, I would make like $400 in a night. I'm like, you know, those some good nights, because some day, like when I was working there just to make ends meet before I got evicted, some nights I would come home with $14 in tips. Yes.
Yeah.
Some days I would come home with $9. So it just depended on the night. But a lot of people didn't like the tip, and that's where my money came from. So I'm like, and I'm a hard worker. I don't care what job I work. I'm putting
your best foot forward. Yeah.
Yes. And so I reached out to her. She called me a few times. And I ended up getting me a place. Oh, yeah. I ended up applying through somebody that I knew.
Yeah.
And it was a 1-bedroom, you know, those like 4-family flats.
Yeah.
And
but it was yours.
Yeah.
Listen.
So I made the living room my room because it was upstairs.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was open. And I was sleeping on an air mattress. And my kids ended up, I gave them the bedroom with the door. And so they slept in bunk beds. It was like a full at the bottom. And
and the twin at the top.
Yeah. Okay. But my baby slept with me.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I ended up getting some mattresses from my sister. And so I was able to sleep on that until I could do better.
Right.
When I moved to the next place.
Okay.
And then I was able to like furnish my house. I got furniture from like the Goodwill. But I furnished my whole house.
You was doing it.
Yeah. And so so when I was working at the daycare, this was before I moved. I was still living with my sister.
Okay.
I got called up to the front entrance because I was getting served.
For what?
I'm like, what is it? Like, first of all, don't nobody even know I'm back in St. Louis. Everybody still think I'm in Memphis. Like, what is going on?
Right.
And so it was child custody papers. And it said that he was petitioning whatever to serve me so that he can get sole custody of the kids. And I'm like, what does sole custody mean? Like, I didn't understand it. I'm like, what does sole custody mean? I ended up talking to like the owner of the center. Yeah. I'm like, well, I just got served these papers. And she knew my story. And I said, she was like, that means that he's trying to get full custody of your kids. I said, oh, absolutely not.
Right.
I said, we're going to go to war because that's not going to happen. And so we went to war. I'm talking about we went to war. He ended up telling his side of the story. He told them I lied. And I said that he molested my kids because he filed for sole custody of the kids. So that was why I made up that story. And I'm like, oh, wow. Well, the dates don't lie. And all the records are public. So believe what y'all want to believe. I'm not here to convince nobody. I know what happened just like he did. If y'all want to believe him, feel free.
Right.
I don't even have the energy. I got to fight for my kids at this point. So I mean, we went to court at first it started out once a month. So, and when I would have to leave work, they would want me to come back to work. And I'm like, I'm not even in headspace, but okay, I'll come back.
Yeah.
And so, I think I had gotten to it with like the manager, and I was already quitting at the job or the owner. because her son was walking around like with his, I don't remember, it's like his shirt was off and his pants was down and his underwear, and he in his 20s. And I'm like, y'all got all of these children here. I said,
and you seen it with a whole different eye now.
Look, I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Because at this point in my life, every man that I see is a child molester.
Yeah.
So I went through that for years. Every man that I saw, listen, my healing journey, I told you this happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just not able to tell my story.
Because you probably wasn't able to date or do anything, because I wouldn't have trusted no man.
I did not trust nobody. And the guy that I ended up being with, like all of this time, I didn't trust him. It took me so many years. And I probably want to say, and I still don't completely trust nobody around my kids. But I want to say it took me probably 6 years to leave him around my kids, you know, like that. And I was working overnights.
Oh, so you really
at the hospital, and I'm working 12-hour shifts. So I'm texting my daughter in the middle of the night, like, Lord, I know she got to go to school in the morning, but my mind can't help but to wonder. And I'm texting, hey, you know, how's everybody doing? What's everybody? And she'd be like, Mom, I'm asleep. Everybody sleep. I'm like, okay. So I'm texting him like, hey, you know, everything's okay.
Yeah.
And so that would be like an every night thing. And I'm like, I got to heal. I have to heal from this completely.
Yeah, because it's affecting your peace too at this point. Like, I can't even, my peace. And your mind. Oh my God.
And I'm like, I can't work night shifts. I'm like, and I need this job. I can't just quit my job.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, Lord, I need some peace. But anyway, back to yes. So we ended up going to court. I had and like I said, he had some decent money. So he hired him an attorney. Right. Of course. And I had a public defender. And it was a intern. Are you serious? They gave me an intern. And so I think he was like freshly graduated. I don't even know if he had graduated yet. Well, I guess he had to graduate. I don't know how this stuff works.
Yeah.
And when I say this man was letting these people tell me anything, it got to the point to where the judge was against me. The GAL, that was the children's attorney, was against me. It got to the point because he told everybody that I lied about him molesting the girls.
I can't believe nobody would like question him. Like, okay, yeah, you don't want to think nobody did that, but it gotta be some truth or something's going on. Like, they didn't go off and nobody.
But my thing is, ma'am, these records are public.
Right.
And so they ordered, because of this clown, the intern who was representing me. Right. He was just letting them tell him anything. He was not even defending me. So they ordered supervised visits. They ordered my kids to have supervised visits with this clown. But guess who's the guardian ad litem?
Somebody you know?
No, the GAL.
Oh.
The same woman from before
was...
Yes. The same woman who said that she wasn't going to prosecute. Yes. It was her. And so they appointed her over my kids again. And so we ended up doing, by this time, when they ordered them supervised visits, and I had a new job back then. I was working at another daycare, for a lady.
Yeah.
I love her to this day. And I ended up going home, and I did the only thing that I knew how to do. I ain't go back to work that day. I couldn't. Yeah. Kids, I pick y'all up when the daycare closed, but I gotta go home and I gotta listen. I went in that bathroom. I ain't turned on no lights. I got on my knees and I did the ugly cry. You know, when you do the ugly
yes,
cry.
yes.
You know, like
not
in the movies,
everything coming down like you just
look,
yes.
In the movies, when they slide down the wall.
Yes.
I did the ugly cry. And I cried out to God like it wasn't no tomorrow. I said, Lord, there is no way that all of these people are against me. You said that if you were with me, you are greater. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I said, and Lord, the whole world is against me at this point. I said, everybody is against me. You are all that I have. How can you let this happen? And I asked God that. Yeah. How can you let this happen? You know that me and my babies are innocent. I said, Lord, you know this man is guilty. How can you allow this? I am trying to protect my kids. And I mean, I boo-hoo, I cried. And I was probably like 105 pounds. You know, I was still small. But I was getting my life back together, you know. And so, you know, I got up. And I think I called my pastor. She prayed. And at this point, we was going to church every Sunday. And I had started going back to Bible study. And me and my kids was going up to the altar, getting special prayer every Sunday because I need some help. Yeah. I need some deliverance. And when I would go up there to that church, I would cry and fall. You know how you see people fall? Yeah. Lord, I was for real. Like, Lord, I don't care about nobody else in this room. This is me and you. Yeah. Lord, I need you at this point because it's the worst battle I have ever been in my life. And I am losing this battle. I can't fight this battle without you. And so the court day was on Thursday. Went to church Sunday. Monday morning, I got a phone call. Let me tell you how good God works. Well, Monday morning, I got a phone call from a Black woman, young woman. She introduced herself to me, Jasmine Jacobs. She said, hi, Alicia, I am your new attorney. The other intern had something. They sent him somewhere else. She wasn't baby. She said, your story just touched my heart. She said, I want you to come to the office because I want to meet you formally. And I met her. She said, I'm not going to quit until we win. She was a young Black woman. She was like in her 29s. I said, Lord, okay, I see you. Yeah. I see you now, God. I see you now. You working and you working fast. So, and I told her, I said, they ordered for my kids to have supervised visits with this clown who molested them. I said, my kids have not seen them since it happened. Right. She said, I understand. She was like, but you have to take them. Because if you don't, they are going to hold you in contempt for not being in compliance of a court order. Yep. And she said, if that happens, they are going to grant him sole custody of your kids. She said, we can get your babies back in counseling. We can get you back in counseling and we can make sure that he is responsible to pay. But we are going to get them kids to the Justice Center so that they can have these supervised visits.
Because it's the process that you got to.
It's the process. She said everything is going to pan out. She said, trust me. Trust me. And so I went home and cried again. Yeah. I'm like, Lord. I hear that, right? And so I trusted God at this point because, Lord, you know what? I got to trust you because you done already told me greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Yes, the whole world is against me, but I know that you're greater than the whole world. So, and that there.
And he's faithful to watch his word perform.
That got me, that word got me through that case. I reminded myself every day, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Yeah. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Greater is he. And vengeance is not mine. Vengeance is the Lord. Yeah. So those two words I manifested on day and night. Day and night. And with the help of my attorney, she told me, she said, now listen, I know you have a job, but I got some homework for you to do. Okay. She was like, keep my daughter was in counseling. Okay. I had to go to these support groups. I had to go to a group for parents and caregivers of traumatized kids. So I did everything I had to do. My daughter graduated. Like, I got everything over here.
Yeah.
My daughter graduated from her trauma therapy when the therapist was like, she's gonna be all right. Your daughter is gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And so I praise God for that. And and also I anointed my kids' head. Like, when I was praying at 12 o'clock, I left it out. I anointed my kids' heads every night. Every night. And I prayed over them. And anyway, fast forward. So she was like, okay, I'm going to send you all over town. But it's important. It's for this case.
Yes.
We have to build this case up against him.
Yeah.
She said, I'm not going to let him take your kids. And I just broke down and I gave her a hug.
Yeah. Yeah.
But boy, did she put me to work.
Yeah.
I had 1 hour lunch break every day. Sometimes I was gone for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And mind you, as long as I'm gone, I'm not getting paid. I wasn't getting paid when I wasn't on the clock.
Right.
And so I didn't care. I'm like, Lord, I know you're going to supply my needs, but right now I got to get the quantum clinics and get these records.
Yeah.
Lord, I know you're going to supply my needs, but I got to get to this children's advocacy to get all these records.
Yeah.
Lord, I know you're going to supply my needs, but I got to get here. I got to get there. I got to go get the police records. I got to go and do everything. And so, oh boy, did she send me on a chase.
Did she?
By the time we got done with them, our stack of papers was about this tall. Because when it's a child custody hearing or case battle, the parents can't go in and speak to the judge directly. Only the attorneys.
Really?
Yes. And so my kids did the supervised visits. Oh, and also they made me take a parenting class. They made him take it too.
Wow.
Yes.
I had to take one through my divorce. I just never would have thought, I'm thinking that's just a part of this is.
Listen, they made me take it. If I didn't go, I would have been incompliant. My attorney said, you got to go. If you don't go, you're going to be incompliant and they're going to grant them sole custody. Go to that class.
Yeah.
Go to I don't care how much you feel like you don't need to go.
That was my struggle. It was like, no, baby, I got this parenting thing down. If I got nothing else, I do this.
Okay.
So you went. Okay.
I went because I ain't finna he not finna win. And so, the kids ended up, so the first visit, I walked to the court building. Like, I walked my daughter in and my kids were with me. And this clown come walking up with his aunt. And he was like, hey, walking up to my daughter with his hands out, baby. She heard the voice. I don't even think she saw his face. Baby, she turned around in the other direction and flew down the hallway screaming. Not only did I witness it, everybody that was there witnessed it. So the GAL, who said that I probably coerced my daughter into saying that he molested them. Yeah. The GAL, Kimberly Whittle, who said that she couldn't charge an innocent man and tarnish his name. She just couldn't have that on her heart and her conscience.
Crazy.
She took it amongst herself to say, okay, we're going to try this again next Thursday. Only you're going to meet me across the street at the Justice Center and I'm going to walk the kids over here. So her thing is, you could have coerced her into acting like that.
That's crazy.
So, I went home like, okay, listen, Lord, you're going to have to do something because these people got me messed up. At this point, all these people still against me.
Yeah.
And my attorney, like, she got my back, but Lord, these people still against me. And so I'm ready to fight. Like, I'm ready to,
baby, I'm sitting there like I probably would have lost it.
Because y'all got me messed up.
Yeah.
And so my attorney was like, everything is going to work out. She said, you have to be in compliant. You have to. I wanted to punch that lady in the face when we was in a justice center.
I can imagine, because I'm sitting here like, it's the mama in you, and then to say that, and then it ain't even about you believing him. you ain't even looking out for the best interest of my
child.
kid. Like, what are you even doing?
That's the whole thing.
If anything, give the child the benefit of the doubt. You giving this man
the power because he hired him an attorney. And I got legal aid, but that's okay because I got God too. I'm gonna show you.
Yeah.
And
come on now. Listen.
So at this point, like I'm ready to go to war for real. I'm like, okay, God. You know, I'm steady talking to God, going to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, Lord, like I'm ready to go to war now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go to war because ain't no way all these people against me like this. And he's wrong.
Right.
And so so the next week I met her at the Justice Center. She held my kid's hand like she was just this super woman.
Right.
Ooh, baby. You talking about the tears rolled down my eyes. I cried the whole time. And she had to bring them back to me after the hour session. And so when she brought them back, she told me that she didn't perform like that. But she also told my daughter, it's going to be okay. He's not going to do anything to you. You don't have to be afraid. So you coerced my daughter into acting a certain way.
Yeah.
So you coerced my daughter.
Not me. Yeah.
You coerced my daughter into acting a certain way to get her to be able to see the man who molested her, the man who traumatized her, the man who took away her innocence. You coerced my daughter. And so, I was ready to fight her.
Yeah.
And I just went home and prayed and I said, Lord, I pray she reap what she sow. I said, Lord, if she got kids, and I said, I know that this might be wrong, but I pray that she feel exactly how I felt through this whole process. I pray that she have to probably not experience exactly what I experienced, but I pray that she have to feel and go through what I went through.
To have some type of empathy.
The nerve
you
of
literally said that I coerced her. Yeah. And it was really you
who did it. And so there was that.
Baby, can you do a lawsuit? Like, this is a coercion lawsuit.
I don't know.
Let's figure this out because, baby, where's she at? Okay, I'm going to tell you something.
And so
that's pissing me off. Like, that's insane.
Yes. And mind you, this went on for almost 2 years. Well, no, not the visits, but the whole custody case.
Battle went, yeah, okay.
And so, because of the severity of it. And so they ended up, my attorney still sent me all over town.
Yeah.
I called the therapist. I'm like, listen, I need your help. Yeah, my daughter graduated, but I need your help.
Yeah.
This the deal. My attorney told me to call her.
Yeah.
This what's going on.
Yeah.
What can you do to help me out? That letter over there that she typed up is what saved the case. Baby, she put her blood, sweat, and tears in there. She talked about what happened when my daughter was in therapy. During the case, she reopened the sexual abuse case. The lady from the Children's Advocacy did while we were in court for the custody battle. So while that happened, I'm at work, a black man, a detective called me. He was like, yeah, the case was reopened. Do you mind if I go to the school and talk to your daughter, my oldest daughter? And he was like, you know what? I got enough evidence to charge him. So this black man, I said, Lord, I thank you for my black people.
Yeah.
I thank you. So this black man found him. He had him to meet him at his office. He locked him up, fingerprinted him, charged him with second-degree sodomy. And he called me and said, I got him, and I charged him with second-degree sodomy. But he couldn't hold him for like so long. So he ended up calling me, like, I don't know if it was like 2 days later or whenever it was. And he was like, I'm calling you because we have to release him. We can't hold him, but he is charged.
Yes.
And
that's a step.
Let me look at this camera for everybody who he said that I lied. Mm-hmm. Once again, the records are public.
Yeah.
And I got a screenshot of the date that he got arrested and charged with second-degree sodomy. Mm-hmm. And so there was that. And so my attorney, working her magic, she like, we gonna continue to fight this thing. She said it's a process.
Yeah.
You have to. So I had to allow my kids to go with him one more time. Well, wait. They went with him one more time before the detective arrested him. Mm-hmm. So they ended up going one more time. He ended up buying them like some boots or whatever, and my attorney handed them to me. I said, "You can throw those away. I don't want nothing from them people. Mm-hmm. I don't want a thing from them." Mm-hmm. And she was like, "I understand, but just take them. You can do whatever you want to do with them.
These boots now." I told you the process.
So I'm like, okay. And so that's when my attorney was like, listen, you got some more homework to do. You got some more ripping and running to do. I need you to go here. I need you to get that because we got proof of this. You got evidence of that. All you got to do is get the documentation. We finna set this thing up the way that it's supposed to be set up. Mm-hmm. So after that, I ended up having a meeting with the woman. Her name was Elizabeth Trotter. Mm-hmm. She's the woman who she's the woman who supervised the visits.
The visits, okay.
And she tells me, well, Mr. Shields disclosed to me that his aunt molested him when he was a child. I said, so that's generational trauma. His aunt molested him, so he molests my kids. What aren't you guys understanding?
Because I'm like, are you saying this because you believe? Because if you're saying this to take up for him, you really, like, that's making it even worse.
That was the last time my kids went with him. And I said, did you write that down? Did you get that on documentation? I said, because we need to use that in court.
Yeah.
And so she never did tell me. And so, which I'm sure she's supposed to document everything. Mm-hmm. And so my attorney was like, just trust the process.
Mm-hmm. Still.
And so I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so, so we went to court again. And by this time, we was going every other week. Because at first it was once a month.
Yeah, I mean, you said that, yeah. And now oh my God.
And then, and my attorney was getting tired of it. I mean, not my attorney. The judge was getting tired of it. The judge was okay until my attorney came to court one day, mm-hmm. with all the stuff that she sent me all around St. Louis to get, mm-hmm. with a file, with files
that big,
this thick,
mm-hmm.
And so this thick, and I still got all the documentation, and so by the time my attorney got done with them, mm-hmm. and his attorney came in there with a manila folder, mm-hmm. It wasn't even that much.
That's all the evidence that they had to present?
That he had. Oh, baby, my attorney was ready. My attorney was ready to go to war. She told me, Alicia, don't you worry.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight for you.
Yeah. And she did just that.
She fought for me, baby. She fought. And that last court date, she said, okay, this was going to happen. Because they was in like a break or whatever, mm-hmm. you call it.
The recess or
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so she came out because I was in the hall.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, this is what's going to happen. We have all this evidence. And the judge is pretty upset that it slipped under the cracks that he didn't get arrested for what he did. And she said, the next court date, we're going to have to go to trial. She said, now, I'm going to tell you this. Not only are you going to have to get up there and testify.
Oh, them babies got to get up there.
But so are the children. And she said, I know it's going to open up some wounds, but it's going to get you the justice that you need and deserve. And we'll order it so that he'll have to pay for counseling or whatever the kids need and you. I said, you know what? My daughter done graduated from counseling. I said, we'll do it. I said, I'm for it. I'm for it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go to trial. I'm ready to go to war. I said, because it's been going on for too long.
Yeah.
And so she said, the judge is pretty pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she came back out after the recess. Because I guess when she talked to me, his attorney talked to him and was like, listen, it's not looking good for you, buddy.
Right, yeah.
You're going to go to jail and you're going to get charged with molesting these kids. So if I were you, you need to just drop the whole case, dismiss it. And he dismissed the whole case, throughout the whole case. I said, we went to court for almost 2 years just for him to throw the whole case out. I said, I was ready. I was ready.
Girl.
Yes. And so after that, my attorney had to, because he was the petitioner for the sole custody. And then, so we had to reverse it. So we had to reverse it. So I had to redo the documentation and I had to be the petitioner. And he had to be the responder. But we did everything while we was at court already. And so she was like, whatever you want, you need to write it on here and a judge gonna grant it. And so I wasn't thinking. I'm like, okay, he needs to be ordered to pay child support. He can't come nowhere near my kids forever. I can't remember everything else that I said, but the fact that he threw out the whole case, my soul just kind of left my body.
Really?
I was ready to go to war.
Yeah. But you did already.
No, I was ready to go to war.
You was ready.
I was ready to go to war. Like, I'm ready to go to battle.
Okay? Yeah, I'm on the battlefield. I'm front row.
I'm like, because for the last couple of years, you had everybody looking at me funny, like I lied.
Yeah.
You had everybody looking at me like I'm the villain. You had all of these people against me, the judge, the prosecuting attorney, the GAL, the lady that did the supervised visits. You had everybody that was in high power.
Yes.
And I was just this little old woman, mother, who was low income, who wasn't going nowhere with her life, who didn't have nothing going on. I'm just this little woman who was getting welfare. Yes, they was looking at me like I was a peasant.
Yeah.
And
the Bible say last shall be first.
Come on. And so I'm like, you know what? Greater is he that is in me than he is in the world.
Come on now.
And so I'm like, okay, God.
Yeah.
I see you.
Yeah.
And I still live and hold on to the promise that vengeance ain't mine, but it's the Lord. So he's going to repay for what he did.
Correct.
One way or another, he's going to repay.
Oh, yes, yeah. And sometimes we might not even see it, but we have to trust God's word. I
trust God.
Yeah.
And he probably been suffering. And I worked at the hospital for 6 years. So when I see people suffering, I be like, hey, I pray that, that the Lord have mercy on your soul, but I don't know if this is your karma.
Right. Listen, I pray God give you grace and mercy, but however, I don't know now, because you might deserve this.
Yes. And so, I'm still holding on to that. To this day.
To his promise, as you should, But all it takes is one word, and he has so many promises to us in that word. Like, and then just you praying about it day and night, meditating, like you're doing everything he said to do, and he never said it was gonna be easy.
Never. Because it was a journey.
Yes.
It was a journey.
Yeah.
I had to climb so many hills.
Yeah.
So many hills just to be brought back down to the valley.
But look at you. Look at you now. Like that is, anybody that's watching going through any type of, they don't even have to be just a custody battle. All the battles that you shared and that you did not give up, baby, let this be inspiration. Let this be encouragement to you, because you could have given up.
Yeah.
You had every reason to be like, F it.
But I always, and we're going to do another podcast.
Yeah, right.
But I always made a promise that I would be nothing like my mother. Mm-hmm. And so I promised myself that. And that's why I said I will always fight for my kids, no matter what.
Thank God you did.
No matter
Thank
what.
God you did.
Because my mama didn't fight for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. We gonna get there. But okay, so do you have any, well, let's talk about this stuff too, because I want people who are going through this, and you know, so this stuff helps you out and it may be able to help them too.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so number one, of course, I went to individual counseling. Of course, I went to the support groups. They help, but that's only a part of it,
right?
You know, healing is a process and it's a journey, and it does not happen overnight. Right. So of course, I ended up, like I said, I got so many books on Amazon, Audible.
Yes.
I started reading books on like, okay, how can I become a better person? You know, how can I heal from this? Because you know, I won that battle, but I'm still having these anxiety attacks every night. I'm still waking up out of my sleep, can't catch my breath. You know, I'm still getting an hour and a half to 2 hours of sleep a night, and I still got to get up and work 2 jobs. I still got to go to this volleyball game. I still got to go here. I still got to take my daughter to practice. I still got to show up and be a mother.
Yes, because life do not stop.
Yes, and so journaling helped me tremendously. And to this day, I love to write. Yeah. Writing is my thing. I done wrote several books. They just not published yet, but
they will be.
They will be.
They will be.
They will be.
Yes.
And just studying,
getting to know you too, because I'm sure you had to dig deep inside. Who is Alicia? Now you know, like, Alicia is a fighter. Alicia is a warrior.
Yes. And why do Alicia make these poor decisions? Oh, it's because of this that happened in my childhood.
Dig deep. Yep.
Why, oh, that's because of the abandonment. You know, this is because of the neglect. This was because of the abuse, the physical and the sexual abuse. Oh, I make these decisions because of this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, everything is starting to come full circle. Full circle. But I prayed and asked God to make me whole.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was on that fast.
People don't even know when you ask him to do that, he about to start. It ain't even about the people around. It's literally you. He about to make you into somebody that you ain't never been.
Yes.
And you about to go and you about to dig deep, but it's worth it.
You got to dig deep. And that's the thing. You finna pull up some skeletons that you done forgot about.
Yeah.
You finna listen, it's work.
Yeah.
It's work. It's not easy. And so.
But it's worth it.
And so I became very curious with mental health.
Okay.
Because I'm like, you know, I battled mental health. You know, like we have people in my family who has like schizophrenia.
Oh, okay.
Just like mental illness.
Yeah. And
the thing is, mental illness is just as important as our physical health. Or mental health, rather. And we tend to overlook our mental and our emotional.
Oh, absolutely.
We tend to sweep it under the rug.
Black people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And excuse me, that's why all of this like generational trauma and everything is out here. That's why people just going crazy and angry at the world and I cut you off. It's nothing. Like, you know. And
but that's unhealthy behavior.
That's very unhealthy. And people don't realize that. And I'm like, you sound like a fool. I don't want you in my presence. Because God didn't deliver me and heal me from that.
Yeah.
Please stay far away.
Please. Right.
Now, if you want some tips on how to heal, I can help you out with that. But you cannot be in my immediate circle because that's not going to rub off on me again.
Correct.
And so I started doing my own research before I started going back to school on all different kind of mental illnesses, and I was looking up like, you know, sexual abuse, you know, as a child, like how does that affect the brain? And, you know, how does that like, and if you don't get help, you know, like how does that affect you? And most people, if you don't get the healing that you need, most like pedophiles, they repeat the process, the cycle. Yes, like he did. And so I became curious. And at one point I felt sorry for him. And At the end of the case, they did say, if another person comes forward, we are going to have to call you and you are going to have to testify against them, you and your daughter. So I'm like, okay, but let me tell you how God worked on me. Mm-hmm. God worked on me so much that I prayed for him. Because I was a child who got sexually abused and my child got sexually abused. So here's the thing. If one less mother could avoid or not have to experience what I experienced, Lord, heal him in the ways that he's broken. Yeah. In order for you to pray for somebody like that, God got to do some serious work on you.
He do, especially during that.
Listen, God did some work on me. Okay. Because I had to get down on my knees and pray for him. Mm-hmm. And I said, Lord, you know what? As much as I want to see him suffer, I would hate for another child to suffer. Right. I would hate for another mother. About you. It ain't about, It's great. It's bigger than me. Yes. I would hate for another mother to have to go through what I went through with this narcissist, and the mother may not have God the way that I did. Yeah, come on, talk about that. Yeah. When I went on that 4-month fast, I didn't know what was ahead of me. Yeah. I didn't know what I was getting ready to come upon. I didn't know that this custody. See, had I not went on that fast, I probably would have killed myself. Yeah. I probably would have killed the kids, then blew my brains out. Mm-hmm. That's how deep and dark I was in depression. So when people do things like that, I don't say things like, oh, that was selfish of them. Like, you have children. Mm-hmm. Because I understand. Yeah, because I've been in that mindset before. Mm-hmm. I've been there. And so I don't judge nobody. Yeah. I am very careful to judge people because you don't know what they are going through. Yeah. And they probably feel like, it's not selfish of me. I'm taking my life. I'm still giving my children an opportunity to live their life, which they are in a different mindset. They're not even in the right mindset. Yes. Yeah. So, and it's been times where I've tried to take my life. Mm-hmm. I've OD'd. Well, I didn't completely OD. Yeah. I ended up getting sick before I could take enough pills, and I just threw it. My body can't really tolerate. Yeah, so it rejected it, and yeah, and so I threw it up before I could even. Yeah, God was like, I got other plans for you. That's right. This ain't that, and it's this for you to share your testimony with so many people. Yeah, and I don't know who this story or this episode is going to reach, but it's going to get to the right person. Yeah. Your labor was not in vain at all. Everything that you went through, I'm thanking you. I didn't go through anything like that, but I'm thanking you that you held on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you were going to be able to help so many people. Yeah. Not even just help them, just show them how you don't give up. Yeah. Yeah. To keep going, your endurance is insane. Like, God love endures. Baby, you are definitely made in his image. To endure all of that, just from the having to pick up and leave, in the process of picking up and leaving everything you had to go through, then get to Memphis, go through that, come back, go through some more stuff. Girl. Yes. Yes, it has. God is able. He is good, and I am so happy that he kept you. Me too. And that he protected you, and that you did not give up. That's serious. So, is there any encouraging words that you would like to leave the audience with? I just want to let everybody know, like, there is hope. Don't be ashamed of nothing that you go through. Mm-hmm. Don't be ashamed. Keep going. Seek God. Seek God's faith. That's the number one key. Because if you trust God, God is going to order your steps. Yeah. He is going to lead the way. All you have to do is put one foot in front of the other, and God is going to guide you. Because it's a miracle that I'm standing here with my right state of mind. Like, literally. Right now. Like, it's a miracle. If you don't believe in miracles, you should now. Because, child, you are amazing, Alicia. Thank you. And if I can just inspire just one person, and I know I've said this on my YouTube channel, if I can just help one person and save one life, like that is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I do have a book coming soon. I will release it when it's time.
Yeah.
But if anybody needs to reach out to me, like my email, everything will be available.
Yes, and I'll put
My
it
social
down
media.
below in the description.
Yes.
So anything, and thank you again. Last question, I forgot, and it's probably the most important question: what beauty did you find in that dark situation?
Healing. I found that there was light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
My daughter, at one point for years, for probably like about 7 years, she didn't like wearing skirts or dresses. And I was that mom that was a girl. Listen, you gonna wear these skirts and these ruffle socks and these bows, and you gonna wear these necklaces and these bracelets, okay? Because you a girl.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it broke my heart, and I was like, Lord, please don't let my baby, become a stud. And I know, to each his own. I'm not judging anybody, but that's just not what I wanted for my children.
Yeah.
And so I lay hands on my baby every night. And she's such a girly girl now. She done came out of her shell. Yeah. She's so open, and she is just, listen, it was nothing but God.
Yeah.
It was nothing but God.
Yeah. Let your prayers be working. Listen.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You are a true inspiration. I am so happy that you came.
Thank you.
And was on this show. Like, oh my God, your story is just so touching. And guys, always remember, beauty can be found in the darkest of places. Beauty still shines in the darkest of places.
Yes.
Until next time, bye.